Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Hopefully you can all hear me okay there now. Um, Good afternoon. Welcome to our Future Skills questionnaire webinar this afternoon. My name is Peter. I'll be hosting the webinar today for everybody. Just to point out that the webinar is being recorded this afternoon, and for anybody that has registered for the webinar that hasn't been able to make it along today, you will be able to get a recording of everything that we go through so that you don't miss anything. So like I said before, welcome to the webinar. My name is Peter. I am one of the Compass Plus consultants. I lead on the webinar delivery for CEC. I've also got joining me today Tamed, who is going to be manning the Q&A and the chat functions. Tamed, would you like to just sort of say a quick hello?
Hey everyone, my name is Tamid and I'm from the customer service team at CEC and I'll be supporting Peter today with any Q&A that you guys might have, any questions that you guys might have, just drop it in the Q&A section. But yeah, I'll be happy to answer them as quickly and efficiently as possible. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thanks very much, Tamed. Okay, so we will get started with today's session. So the agenda for today, what our sort of call to actions are and our aims for today's session is that you can understand the value of the Future Skills Questionnaire. We will be able to look at the different questionnaire types that are embedded within Compass Plus and how you can access those. Very importantly, we will explain and talk through how to prepare and deliver the FSQ. We've found from different bits of feedback that the return on the amount of links that are generated to being completed has massively increased by the preparation and the planning that you put in place for that. I'll then run you through a demo of where you can access the different links and how you can then analyze and sort of interpret the data that you get back from the FSQ to help you to best make any interventions and to steer your careers program in the right direction based on the results and the information coming back from your learners. We've also got an impact story there from Simon Wareham. He is a careers lead in a school that uses Compass Plus and in particular FSQ, and he's got his sort of good news story on what he does with FSQ and how he utilizes that within his school setting. So we'll hear from Simon as well. And then with all of our webinars, I will direct you to where you can access the resources, training, and next steps. So that if there are any issues or any problems that you're experiencing post this webinar, that you know where to go for help and support and how you can then sort of put fixes in place. Okay, so our learning objectives for today is to know how to access the Future Skills Questionnaire, like I just mentioned before, and then make it available to your learners. How you can then interrogate that data that you get back from your learners to sort of best steer your careers program, and then where you can get some help and resources if you need that moving forwards. So I appreciate, sorry, that there may be some quite new people in position in terms of careers leads and also new to using Compass Plus and also Future Skills Questionnaire. So just to sort of explain that the Future Skills Questionnaire is a tool that is designed to measure the readiness of your learner. So it gives you that learner voice, authentic, timely, that you can then analyze and sort of, again, mentioned, make any interventions based on your learner's voice that you may need to for their individual careers program. It covers the key aspects of knowledge, skills, and attitudes, and they are very important, certainly when we are starting to look at the interests and destinations of our learners and where they are then going on to. So it allows us to see the skills and the knowledge that needs to be embedded within our learners during their time at school and their careers has been happening as well. Okay, I'll tell you what I will just do at this moment. I will just minimize my camera and then we'll be able to see the screen a lot easier. Okay, so the value, why should you use FSQ? The value of it from your perspective is that it allows you to respond directly to your learner voice. So like I mentioned just previously there, the information you get back from the Future Skills Questionnaire from your learners, it's timely, it's authentic, and it's usable there and then. It can also allow you to identify that some potential learners that may be at risk of becoming NEET. So certainly when we're working towards the sort of later years, the years 10 and years 11, when we complete the FSQ, depending on the answers that are coming back from your learners, if they are identifying that they don't know what their next steps or their pathways may be, that's a perfect time to make some interventions and really make sort of meaningful impact on their career so that their next step is an actual purposeful one. It allows us to measure the progress of learners' career readiness over time. Against this is mapped against the Skills Builder framework. So the two sets of questions that are asked within the FSQ, they really do allow us to see how our learners are developing their knowledge in all the key areas of their careers and sort of what their next steps might look like. It allows us to see hopefully a nice sort of timeline of learning knowledge being increased in those areas. Based on some of the responses that you do get, it may be that you put on particular activities to meet individual needs like it's got there. So we could create custom groups if we've got a particular cohort or a particular section of learners that are saying that they have got sort of little to no knowledge in a particular area. It may allow us to be really focused and strategic in doing that. And then it can also allow us to identify trends and gaps in provision, which can then also filter into that tailoring of activities based on that information. So we've got a little slide here, which is just it's an amalgamation of the FSQ data, and it was pulled together at the Insight briefing, which is just mentioned there below. And I'm not going to read all of those to you because you will get a copy of the slide deck in your post-session comms, but it just gives you some really key areas to look at to sort of identify how and where FSQ is making an impact and making a difference. And not only that, allowing you as careers leads to be able to access that information to then work with it and make, like I mentioned before, any interventions that you see fit that would certainly benefit your careers program and your learners that sort of take part of that. So lots of great little stats in there just to sort of go over, just to sort of reiterate how useful and beneficial the Future Skills Questionnaire is. Okay, so the questionnaires itself, for those that are new to using FSQ or maybe haven't even used FSQ, we can see here there are 5 different questionnaires. We've got the year 7s, 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the SEND version. Broadly speaking, the sort of the curriculum versions being from year 7 to year 13, they broadly remain the same. There are a few tweaks in some of the questions based on the particular stage that learner is at within their school and careers education. So they do change very slightly. But what we can see there is that where they are sort of separated out, those questionnaires are the same. So years 8 and 9, that questionnaire remains the same for both of those years. Same for 10 and 11 and same for 12 and 13. So depending on how you want to launch the questionnaire, which we will cover shortly, you may choose to either do it in both of those years or maybe just do it in one because the questionnaire is the same. The SEND version there that's underneath that is that questionnaire remains the same throughout all year groups. Okay, so across all years, that questionnaire does not change, and it is designed to be carried out as part of a one-to-one careers conversation. So this questionnaire is not something that you would set for homework, not that we sort of advise to do that for the others either, which we will explain the reasons behind shortly. But the SEND version, it's designed to be held as a one-to-one careers conversation. It may be also done with a parent or a carer, but certainly somebody that could be sat side by side with that SEND learner to help coach and advise them through the questions. With all of the questionnaire types, it's split into 2 sections of questions, which are the career-ready skills and the essential skills for life and work. And those questions there are then based on those 8 frameworks underneath. So the Skills Builder framework is where those questions are sort of are linked to, sorry, I should say. Okay, a little bit of information just about the questionnaires themselves. So the links are generated within Compass Plus, which I will demo just shortly. So you can go into your accounts and depending on what year group you want to send the questionnaire for, you can generate the links within your Compass Plus account. You can then, if you choose to, send those links out directly to your learners. Alternatively, if you don't want to do that, you can do a mail merge. You can download links to an Excel spreadsheet and get the learners to access it that way. So, but links can be sent out, and it can be quite a time-saving part of the FSQ to sort of generate the links and send them out straight away. Any uncompleted links that you have generated will expire on the 1st of August every year. So pretty much the end of that kind of academic year. So depending on when you've generated the link, if for whatever reason that learner has not accessed it, then it will expire. And then you would just then in the new academic year, once those learners have come back and you've come back to school, generate new links, and then you could roll the questionnaire out that way. The questions, they are fixed. They can't be edited or amended. So where we had the two sort of questionnaire types, the questions for careers ready and knowledge for skills in life, those questions are fixed. They have been sort of put together with industry experts. So the questions are meaningful in terms of the information and the data that you can get back from them. Questionnaires, unlike your compass evaluations, the questionnaires cannot be saved, unfortunately, and returned to later. So where with an evaluation, you could sort of start it, save it, go away, come back. With a questionnaire, once that link is accessed, that questionnaire needs to be then completed by that learner there and then. And just a final note on there that the responses from the questionnaire, they don't link into your evaluation, as these responses from the questionnaire, they're all about gauging your learners' career readiness within their sort of school careers education. So it's all about that assessing their readiness for those next steps. So this is a very, very important slide, and one which I just mentioned earlier about the uptake in completion is all in the preparation and how you sort of plan to roll your questionnaires out. So the first thing that you need to do here is ensure that the email address that's on there, the careersandenterprise.co.uk email, that is whitelisted, that can get through school firewalls, because when you do generate the links within Compass Plus for your FSQ, that is where the email will come from when it's sent out. So we need to make sure that all the emails in there are learner emails, that there's no parental emails in there as well, because if you are sending them out and it's going to a parent, then that learner, certainly if it's in an IT session or something like that, won't have access to that email. If you're within a send setting and it may be that those learners don't actually have emails and it is a parent email that's in there, there is a workaround where you could send the email to yourself as the careers lead, access it through your own email to then sit with that learner and do it. Or alternatively, if it is for a send learner, sending it home to parents, but maybe with some sort of pre-narrative to allow them to know what they are going to be looking at and accessing. The next one is all about decide how you're going to roll it out and when you're going to roll it out. So decide, if you're relatively new to this, are you just going to start maybe with a couple of learners to ensure that the process works in the way that you want it to work, and then you can sort of grow it to year groups, cohorts, whatever it might be, but certainly have a plan in place. Sometimes it may be that you need to look at curriculum timetables, so that if you are sending out questionnaires, it maybe falls in line with when learners have an IT lesson, so that they can then go onto the system if the IT teacher will allow you to sort of pinch a little bit of time of their lesson. It can allow you to sort of ensure that learners have got access to IT to be able to get those links for their emails and then access the questionnaire. So there is a little bit of planning and preparation needed around when will learners have access to IT. The review and make optional updates on a learner presentation. So I will show you where you can go to get a sort of a very short PowerPoint presentation that you could use within a career session. And it will really give that narrative to the learners as to what the FSQ is, what they need to do with it, why they're completing it, what you're going to do with that data and information. And hopefully in doing that, again, it will allow for a larger uptake on completions of the FSQ. That particular PowerPoint that I will show you can be editable and can be amended by putting on your own school logos, just to add that sort of authenticity and that feel for those particular learners. And then that very last part there, which is always the case with IT, if it's ever going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong when you don't want it to. So what we always advise is to send the links out in advance of the session that you are going to run. And just to make sure that the emails do land in your learners' inboxes and you haven't got any learners kind of saying, I don't have the link, where's mine? So you can guarantee that if it's 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, you're going to run this in a 9:30 career session, that if you send the links out there and then half of them will land in the learners' inboxes, half of them won't, and then you haven't got sort of the lesson that you planned for or the lesson that you hope to carry out. So sending links 24 hours in advance really sort of eliminate or hopefully eliminates that potential occurrence. So again, I suppose it links into what I've just talked about there. Examples how to deliver the FSQ. So you could do it in sort of IT lessons, in form time. The form time we advise there just to make sure that you do have enough time to complete it. When we talk through the questionnaires, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for a learner to complete an individual questionnaire. So not too long, but sometimes you want to have time prior to that to make sure that you can get logged on to any IT equipment, that type of thing. So not to sort of just leave yourself too short in the hope that everything runs smoothly. But form time, tutor time, like you see there, IT lessons, you could do them in enrichment days. So some of the schools that we spoke to, they've done it as part of a session using partner platforms. So you could do it in that way. You could do it in one-to-one guidance interviews, certainly within that SEND setting, which is what we advise to do it within those particular one-to-one sessions and plan those in accordingly. And although it's on the end here as homework or independent study, there's a reluctance to sort of advocate that one just in case learners aren't sure on what the questions are asking and they maybe don't know what answers to give, or they may have other distractions, certainly if it's at home and they're sort of just clicking through the questions to get it done as quickly as possible. So there is obviously the option to do it as set as homework, but it's probably much better delivered in your school where you can give that advice and support if any of the learners need that. Okay, so what I will do now is I will jump into my demo account and I will start to sort of show you where you can access the questionnaires, where you can look at different pieces of data and information, and how you can then utilize that to make any interventions in your careers programs. So for those people who are relatively new to Compass Plus, once you get your logins and you're on your account, this is what your dashboard page will look like. You've got your navigation bar over here on the left-hand side. And where we're interested in to start with is we're going to click into the learner section. So if we click into learner and then we just go to questionnaire, it will then take us to this secondary page. And this is this is where all of the information relating to generation of links, narratives, support and information for your questionnaires, this is where this is stored and housed. So the first part that we're going to be interested in is on this little first line here. So you can find out more information about the questionnaires here. So we've got a tiny little hyperlink. If we click on the hyperlink there, it will take us to a page of information on different things around FSQ. So we've got some videos there about what the FSQ looks like. If we keep scrolling down, we've got some PDF versions of all 5 of the questionnaires here. Now, it may be if you wanted to do this, you could download the SEND version as a PDF, and you could go through that with the SEND learners just to give them the pre-information as to what the questionnaire is going to look like. And then you could then complete that digitally once you send the links out. Now, something just to note here is that if you are within a SEND setting, there is no mandatory requirement that you have to send your SEND learners the SEND version of the questionnaire. If you feel that they have the skills, the knowledge, the capability to complete one of the let's call them the mainstream curriculum versions, then you can definitely send them out and you could definitely do the questionnaire with them. But a point to note is that once a link is accessed, so if you feel that one of your SEND learners could complete, let's say, the year 7 secondary FSQ, if you generate a link and then you start going through it with them and then they find that it's a little bit too difficult for them, then that link will have expired and the information will, I'm going to say, be null and void, but it certainly won't be as good as if they were completing the SEND version. So what you may do here, if you were considering getting one of your SEND learners to complete a curriculum questionnaire, is to download the PDF. You can then go through the questions, and if they do start to get, depending on their send level, if they do start to get anxious or if they are getting confused, then it may be that it's a step too far and that you then revert back to the send questionnaire. But by going through the PDF, you haven't then used or accessed that link, so you could then still generate a send version. So we've got PDFs there if you wanted to use those. Where we are interested in is down here at the bottom. So we've got the guidance on all aspects of implementing FSQ. So we want to be clicking into that one there. And then the three bits of information that we're interested in here are the three bottom ones. So if I just start with this one here, so we've got the Future Skills Questionnaire Learner Guide. So if we click on that, this is going to give us access to the PowerPoint that I was just talking about previously. So by accessing this PowerPoint, it's just 6 slides, and it would be something that would be very beneficial to do, certainly in preparation and the planning side of things before you roll out the questionnaire. To go through this in a form session or in a career session, it allows the learners to know what's going to be coming their way, not to ignore the link when it lands in their inbox, and basically why they are going to be completing this questionnaire. So this part here, where it's got careers and enterprise company, that's customizable. So you could put your school logos on there if you wanted to. And the first slide talks about what is the Future Skills Questionnaire. So within your session, you can be explaining that to your learners. The second slide lets them know why they're going to be completing this questionnaire. And this would be a really good part to emphasize that you are wanting that learner voice of authenticity so that you can make changes based on their answers and able to provide them and give them the best careers education possible, so that you could put on meaningful events, you could run great sessions for them, stuff that's going to have an impact. And you could kind of go down the route of, well, you said, so we did type of thing. So letting them know why they're completing it and the difference and the opportunities that will hopefully then allow them to experience throughout their careers is a great approach to take. On the third slide, it allows you to talk about how their responses will be used, the changes that you might make, etc. And then the fourth and fifth talk about the different types of questions. So on the fourth slide, we've got the careers, knowledge, and skills. On the fifth slide, we've got the skills for work and life. And then the final slide is how to answer the Future Skills Questionnaire. So it tells the learners that it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, that it's sort of multi-choice. It's not a test. That should be a big emphasis here. It's not a test. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just their opinion on how they are feeling or what they understand to be their sort of careers guidance and their careers provision. So allow them to make those answers through a sort of non-judgmental format, and then as a result, what you will do from that. Okay, so once they have completed those questionnaires, we could then look at this next link. So this one is for our send, our send learners. And again, it's a PDF. What we could do here is you could send this home, you could print this out, and this could be used as a supporting document, especially if you are getting your send learner to complete this at home with a parent or a carer. And the parent or carer that doesn't have as much knowledge and understanding of your careers program as you do, it can allow them to really best support their son or their daughter through the questions. So it gives them a bit of narrative around the sort of intention and the purpose behind each one of the questions, so they can really then allow them to sort of guide and support their son or their daughter completing all of the questions. So that could be downloaded and sent out as a PDF. And then the final one here, you will have certain parents within your school for your learners that are very, very interested in their son and their daughter and their careers education, what they are doing, and they may want to know what this FSQ is, why is their son or daughter completing it, what's going to happen with the information, is the information that they're completing there, is it safe and secure? And this little piece of narrative here can very much support that. So you could copy and paste that into an email, you could send that out via a letter, you could put it on your school website, just to allow those parents that do want to be involved in their sons and daughters' education, what they're doing and why they are doing it. So it allows you to let them know that their son and daughter is going to be completing the questionnaire. All the information is fully GDPR compliant, so it's all safe and secure, and that you are then going to be hopefully making changes or amendments to your careers program based on what they are saying. So that's some of the support and narrative around the questionnaires. So that's found there. Then what we've got is the different questionnaire links. So we've got start and secondary, transition from Key Stage 3, GCSE year, post 16, and send. You can, at this point here, you can access all of the questionnaires from here. So you could go on and have a look at what the questionnaire is. You could do that before you run a session with the learners, just so that you're aware of what you're going to be talking about. I'm not going to go through a full questionnaire, but I'll just show you what they look like. If I clicked on the start and secondary, this is what the learners would see when you generate and send out the links for them. So it's welcome to the Future Skills questionnaire. It would have their name on here as well. Click get started. And then it takes us to the first set of questions within the questionnaire. So they're on the careers, knowledge, and skills. If we click get started, and I'll just explain what these bits of information mean and look like. So we've got the first question, have you learned about different careers other than those of your family and carers? So there's 4 possible responses that the learners can give. 2 of them are classed as positive responses and 2 of them are classed as negative responses. And this helps you when you start to analyze that data. So when you start to look at data where Compass Plus says 50% of learners have answered this positively, what that means is that they've selected one of these bottom 2 answers. If it says 40% of learners have answered negatively, it means that they've selected one of these 2 answers. So the positive and negative information, when you are starting to analyze it, is driven from these answers here. So the top 2 are classed as negative and the bottom 2 are positive. So the learner would just literally select one of the answers, click next, and then it takes them all the way through. You can probably see now why it says it takes 10 to 15 minutes. So these are the number of questions that the learner will be required to complete within the career section. There is then the knowledge section, which has fewer questions in there. And overall, it does take around sort of 10 to 15 minutes for them to complete that successfully and accurately. My emphasis would be take your time, read the questions, because the information that you as a careers lead are going to get back from the questionnaire is sort of massively dependent on what they've put in. So you don't want them to be just putting any information in. It needs to be accurate so that you can then make real quality interventions into careers programs if you need to. So that's where you could access the different links from. So you could have a look at each one of those there. You could see what the questionnaires look like prior to then sending them out. Where we would generate and sort of send our links out from is within this next section here. So we've got the generate, manage questionnaire links. We've got summary report, detailed report, and send report. We'll look at these 3 in a short while. But on the generate and manage links, so we're on our 23-24 data. So we know that we're on the right academic year. Compass Plus has said here within this sort of little blue section that we can send out the FSQ if we want to, because we have been sort of upgraded to FSQ. And where this data and information now comes from in terms of all of these learners here that are going to be in our year groups is when Compass Plus updates overnight, it pulls the information from your MIS within your school and populates Compass Plus. So all of that learner data that you've got in your MIS, so that could be if any learners have joined that particular day, if any have left, if there's any amendments in any data or information, i.e. emails, contacts, that type of thing, that gets pulled through overnight. So it's very important to make sure that all of the information that's in your MIS is accurate, it's up to date, and like I previously mentioned, certainly from an email perspective, that the emails are student emails. So where we'll go next to generate our links. So we select our year group as to what we want to send a questionnaire out. So if I maybe select our year 10s, what I could then do is I would click on generate new links. It will then, Compass Plus will then take me to this secondary page. As a bit of a fail safe, it will automatically give me 2 options. So I've selected my year 10. So I can only possibly send out 2 questionnaires to my year 10s. I can send out the send version because that remains the same throughout all year groups from 7 all the way through to 11. Or I can send out the GCSE years because that's the only one that applies to my year 10 and my year 11. So if I click my GCSE years, what we've now got the option to do is when we generate the links that we generate now, we can, if we wanted to, send these out straight away to the email addresses that Compass Plus has pulled through from your MIS system. So if I select that button to start with, I can then do one of a few things. I can select form groups, I can select teaching groups, or I can select individual learners that I want to generate a link for. Now, just to sort of show you how this looks, if I wanted to generate all of the links for all of the year 10s that I've got within my Compass Plus account, which at this point I should note is this is all dummy data. So the information that I'm going through here is all fabricated. It's all for the purposes of the webinars and the sessions that we run. So what we can do is we can see that all of the learner names have been highlighted. So Compass Plus, if I ask it to, will generate links for all of these particular learners. And if I scroll down to the bottom, we can see here it says generate and send links to 74 learners. Now, I don't want to generate and send those links because there's part of a demo, but you may want to do that. At which point, if you click this button here, it would then generate 74 individual questionnaire links for all of your year 10s, and it will send them out directly to the email addresses that you have saved within Compass Plus, which, like I mentioned earlier, has been pulled through from your MIS. So if I just deselect this, send links via email, what we should notice is all it says now is just generate links as opposed to generate and send. Now, I don't want to send 74 links out. So if I just deselect that, now, if you are new to Compass Plus and FSQ, it may be that you want to start small and just make sure that the process and the generation of the links works in the way that you want it to work. So what we could do is just select one learner. It may be your sort of standout year 10 learner. So if I've just selected Matilda Edwards, if I scroll down to the bottom now and I ask Compass Plus to generate a link for Matilda, what it will let me know is one questionnaire link has been generated. So it's in the process of generating Matilda's individual questionnaire link, and it will let me know when that's done. So that's now being done. So I'm still in my year 10s. If I just search on Matilda's name, what we can now see here is Matilda Edwards has a questionnaire link attached to her name or her profile. It lets me know what type of questionnaire it is. So if I've made a mistake and for some reason Matilda isn't a year 10, but it's pulled through incorrectly, there's been a glitch in the system, you can then sort of amend that, you can delete it. Now, what we can do here is you can copy this link, this particular link here, into an email and send that directly from your own email address as a careers lead, and say, you could get Matilda next to you and say, Matilda, could you access your emails, please, just to make sure this link's come through. Alternatively, what you can do, and this is the part that may work within a send setting, is we can click into actions and we can download links. What it will then say to me is, what links do you want to download from your year 10s? If I just click in Matilda here, I'm just going to say, I want to generate, I hope if I spelled that correctly. I want to generate Matilda's link. So I could click download links. What Compass Plus will then do is it will download, if I just zoom in on this for you all, it will download Matilda's individual questionnaire link. Now you could email that to her. You could have that up on a board in a classroom and sort of ask Matilda to copy that URL into a web browser, hit enter, and it will take Matilda to her questionnaire. So if you do have a class that don't necessarily have access to emails, you could maybe download all of the links onto a spreadsheet. You could then print them out. You could cut them up into sort of individuals, give them their own questionnaire link to type into a browser, and they could access the link that way. Once the learners have done that, and they have accessed their questionnaire links, and they have completed them, and they have then submitted them into Compass Plus, where you can have a look at the individual responses is also within this section here. So if you've got any learners that have generated responses, you can, if I just come back off that, what we can do is we can see if any of the learners have completed the questionnaires, and in this section here for the questionnaire status, it will have view responses. So if we clicked on view responses, that would take me directly to this individual learner's response and how they have answered these questionnaires. The alternative way to find that out is if we go into our learner section here and click on current. This will be a list of all of our learners within our Compass Plus account. If we click on view profile, we can then see the information that we've got here. We've got activities, interest and destination, questionnaires, and personal information for Isaac. I could click into the questionnaires and it will then show me the different answers that Isaac has given for the questionnaires he has completed. We could look at that with questions and options, or we could just look at answers only. So that's a way that we could see what learners have completed the questionnaire. That can then be downloaded as an individual learner report. And it's in the third section on that learner report as to sort of how Isaac has answered his questions. Okay, so from that, so we've now downloaded our links. We sent them out to whatever year group that we wanted to, or whatever individuals that we wanted to, and we know that it then works and the information's coming back into Compass Plus. How we can then analyze that information is in these next few sections here. So if I click into our summary report, I don't have lots of data in 23, 24. So if I go into 21, 22, so what we can see here is that we are looking at all of our year groups and all of the information that they have supplied from the questionnaires that they've completed that we've generated and sent out. So what we can see, we've got start and secondary, transition from key stage 3, so years 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And what we've got, if we just look at the start and secondary, is on this information here, this lets us know that 108 learners have completed questionnaires. That's 95% representative of our year 7. So almost all of our year 7s have completed the questionnaires that we've generated and sent out. So not too many to chase. Of those 108 that have been completed, 55% of them have answered the questions in a positive manner. So that's quite good. It's quite encouraging. Could be better, but certainly it could be worse as well. And so what we can then see is we've got all the questions in chronological order and in which sort of format or way that they've been answered, whether it's mostly negative, mostly positive, that type of thing. So it's nice to be able to see that information in that way, but the way that I feel that this is more beneficial is that if we go over here where we've got sort by, and rather than sorting on question number, if we sort on positive response, what Compass Plus then does for us is it then sorts all of the questions out into questions that are answered most positively at the bottom to most negatively at, most positively at the top, beg your pardon, to most negatively at the bottom. Now, the benefit of this is it's lovely to be able to celebrate the wins and know where we're doing things well with the answers at the top. But the best way to improve and the areas that you may need to focus on, certainly to make any progress within your careers program, are these at the bottom. And what we can do is we can hover over the questions and it will tell us sort of what the question is. So for example, there, if we've got question 6 and it says at school, do you know who to go to for information and guidance about careers? So what that is telling us there is that of our year 7s, over half of them don't really know who you are. They don't know who the careers lead is. They don't know who to go to ask for any advice and guidance on their careers. And so that may be a potential easy, quick win for you as a careers lead. So to address that particular problem, you may decide that you're going to start going into assemblies for the new year 7s. You may pop your head into form groups or tutor sessions. It may be, even if you're brave enough, you may want to put your picture on notice boards explaining who you are, where the learners can find you, etc. Now, whilst it might not solve the problem for this particular year 7 group, what you may find is if you've made those interventions is that for the future year 7s, question 6, whilst it's quite negative here, might be almost at the top or when your next year 7s complete those questionnaires. So it really allows you to focus in on some of the particular areas that your learners are saying, look, I don't have a lot of knowledge in this area, and allow you to then make some sort of positive and meaningful interventions for those sort of future years. What it may also do here as well is sort of our lowest answered question. Have you thought about how jobs and careers may change in the future? This may link to what careers information is being taught in sort of primary schools. So those feeder schools that are sending the learners into yourself, it may be that they don't do a lot on careers and sort of different skills that may be needed in them. So therefore, you could then start to collaborate with those feeder schools, share your own knowledge and your own experience, and allow them to sort of know that this is what the learners are saying when they come through, and it may allow them to start making changes to their sort of careers as well. So there's a real wraparound there and support that you can give to the primary schools that are sending learners to your school, and make some real positive changes there as well. So looking through the rest of them, the information is just displayed and it's interpreted in exactly the same way for all of the remaining year groups. It allows you to see how many questionnaires have been completed. It tells you what percentage that is of that year group, and then what they are answering in a positive manner. What you would like to see and what you would hope to see is that this in terms of answers for answering questions positively, this increases throughout your school career, or throughout your school program for careers. That the learner's knowledge is developing through time, through the different year groups, and it's getting stronger as it works through. So that is what you would hopefully see there within your settings. So moving on from the summary report to our detailed report. So this is the part where now we can really be quite granular and we can sort of filter down into some of the real individuals, and interpret that data and information. So if we just looked at the same information again that we had in our summary report, but in a detail. So we've got our year 7 group here. So you've got that there. We've got our different questionnaire types here if you want to sort of change that to alter the year group. But if we stick with our year 7s, what we can see, the information is still the same. So 108 questionnaires have been completed, 95% representative of our year 7s, and 55% of them are answering them in a positive manner. But what we can then do is if we look at this information here in our bar chart, is that it lets us see who these learners are. So we've got 26 of our 108 learners are answering 2/3 of the questions in a positive manner. So if our first set has sort of 12 questions in there, we've got learners answering 8 questions or more in that positive manner. We've got 80 learners who are a bit of a mixed bag. They're answering between 1 and 2/3, so anything from 4 to 8 type of thing, answering those questions positively. But where we might want to focus on and where you might want to start targeting and honing in on are these mostly negative ones. So what we've got here is 2 learners are answering less than 1/3 of the questions positively. So 4 questions or less are being answered positive. The remainder are being answered negative. And where we can find out who those learners are is if we just click onto that bar chart. Compass Plus will then give us a breakdown of who those 2 learners are. Now, that can then allow us to start having some one-to-one conversations with these learners to maybe address any needs or any barriers that they're experiencing. It may be that they've just misinterpreted the questions, and so it's a little the data is a little bit skewed. It may even be that you know that Mandy Stevens has been off school for quite a lot that year and has missed quite a lot of the programs and the sessions that you've put on. So you were maybe expecting Mandy's questions to be quite negative responses. However, Keely Wilson is saying all the right things. She's being really positive in the sessions, and so those answers that she's given may have some underlying problems or areas that you need to examine as a careers lead, and it may allow you to do that and have that sort of conversation. So it allows you to really drill down into the specifics of who these learners are that are saying that they have got areas that they need to develop within their sort of careers education. What it also may give you the opportunity to do is create some custom groups. So if you've got some particular learners that have answered questions negatively in certain areas, you may then be able to pull a group of individuals together and then put a particular session on that could start to address the individual needs that they have. So this is a really interesting section on this left-hand side here. On the right-hand side, it kind of provides us just with more characteristics to start to filter through. So we can look at questions that are answered less than 50% positively, less than 25% positively, or even look at our low scoring questions. So we could look at our low scoring questions there, which is 1, 5, 6, 7, 10. And then we could, if we wanted to, click into those, then see who these learners are that for that particular question, who are they that's answering that question really negatively, and it gives us a breakdown there again of who those learners are. So for question 1 was, have you learned about different careers other than those of your family and carers? We can then say that all of these learners don't, so we may create a little group, a little session that helps them address that need. So we could do a session on different careers, different skills that are needed, that type of thing. So it allows you to start making some really, really meaningful and positive interventions. We can then look at comparing groups. So we could look at gender, pupil premium, SEN. So if I clicked on the gender, I can look at the different way that my year 7 boys and girls are answering the questions. If you have any really large disparities here between sort of the boys and girls, it may allow you to examine that further as well, and to make any interventions that are required. We can look at just all boys, all girls, or male and female. Again, we can just look at all pupil premium, SEN, that type of thing. So if I just wanted to see how my boys are answering all of the questions, and then of that, which are the lowest scoring questions of my boys, we can, you can really start to play about and sort of deep dive into all of the different areas to really have that individualized approach to careers programs for your learners. So depending on what it is that you may have been asked to produce a report for, this particular section or information for this particular section can really help with that. The send version is pretty much the same as the detailed report. The only difference being is that rather than having the year groups, we've got all the different key stages, but that information can then be analyzed and interrogated in exactly the same way that you can just look on who these 5 learners are that are answering really negatively, that type of thing. So it allows you to be really focused and individual in terms of meeting your learning needs. Something that Ofsted are very, very keen to witness. So that's pretty much everything on where you can generate the links, send them out, look at the data, analyze the data, and then what you can do as a result of that, the type of interventions that it can allow you to have within your program. So if I just bring us back to our slide deck here. So we've seen this slide when I just generate the link. So this is the one that allows you to see how your learners are, when your questionnaires have been generated. This next one, this is what it will look like when the questionnaires lands into your learner's inbox. So this is who it comes from, the Careers and Enterprise company. So this is where I was saying this email needs to be whitelisted to get through any sort of school firewalls. It will then sort of say, hi, Julia Collins, your school has sent you out a link. This is the link here. Access it, and then you can complete that questionnaire. So again, you could share that with your learners to let them see what it will look like and just give them that sort of pre-information so that they don't kind of look that and go, oh, I don't know what that is, delete. It will then also help with the uptake and the completion rate of your FSQs. So just a couple of things which I've already mentioned, how you can download the questionnaire. You can look at the questionnaire responses through the questionnaire page, which I showed you. We also then went into the learner profile where we have the questionnaire tab. We can toggle, which I showed you for the answers, where you can just look at answers only. And then I mentioned that you could download that individual learner report as a PDF and look at those sections there within the learner profile. Okay, so analyzing the results. We're now going to play a short video. This is Simon, who I mentioned earlier, who uses Compass Plus within his setting and uses the FSQ and the impact that that has had for him as a head teacher, there, assistant head.
That really helps us to evaluate our careers provision. I'm assistant head teacher, responsible for student progression at Southmore Academy in Sunderland. Using Compass Plus has had a great impact on our school, mainly for 2 reasons. One, because it's managed to record everything to do with careers together in one place. So that means it's making the management of careers much easier. We also find that using the Future Skills questionnaire, for example, it has had a huge impact on our careers program. That allows us to be able to see what the students are actually saying so that we can put interventions in place where necessary.
My name is Julie Robinson and I'm the Trust Director for Progression and Careers Advisor to Southmore Academy, Sandhills and Sixth Form. I use Compass Plus quite a bit in my role here at Southmore in terms of recording destinations. It just helps for me to have kind of like a quick glance if I need to, in terms of what their plans are so far, helping me to look to see if they require any further interventions as well. If they change their mind about the job sector that they're interested in, then again I can have a look at that and report that information if I need to. Just keep things really, really accurate. We record the 16 destination in terms of whether that be sixth form, whether that be a college, whether that be a training provider, or whether that's sort of interest in movement or intervention.
The Future Skills questionnaire really helps us to evaluate our careers provision. So it shows us where things are going well within our careers provision. So it shows us where it's had an impact. but it also shows us the areas where there might be gaps and things that need improving as we move on. It really shows that student level voice. The benefits of using the Future Skills questionnaire is that it really helps you as a school to really find out what the students actually think. Because it could be different. It could be something that you think as a school that you do really well, but actually the students say something totally differently and you haven't picked up on that previously. So it really helps you to identify those gaps in your provision from the actual students themselves. Previous Future Skills questionnaire that we did last year showed that our students didn't really know where to find the careers advisor, for example, where to go to get direct careers advice. That came through as an area of development that they really weren't sure. So therefore, they have said that they don't know where to go for careers advice. We are providing the information that they need, and therefore that will have an impact moving forward where students will be able to answer that question differently as time goes on. So it really helps us to evaluate that impact and really give a voice to our young people.
Okay. So if I just move on to our next slide. So great information there from Simon. I hope basically just sort of re-emphasizing what I've already gone through in that how to generate your links for your questionnaire, how you can then use that information to help sort of steer your careers provision for your learners and sort of make those meaningful interventions. This is another school here, Clevedon School. So they've delivered the FSQ and how they've sort of rolled it out. They've done it through years 7, 11, 13 and year 9. So there's no requirement to sort of do it in every single school year. You can do it in whatever way works best for your particular school setting. They've launched it in year 7 as part of an IT curriculum. So again, I was saying before about that plan and preparation. Make sure that you can get access to IT for your learners. Some of the sessions were incorporated into part of platform, and it was making sure that the learners were sent those links via Compass Plus well in advance of Clevedon School wanting the learners to access that information. So this is what their information looks like. It looks pretty much the same as what I've just gone through within my demo account. So they were analysing their data and they then sort of acted on the information that they got back from that. So the impact and actions from that particular set of questions. So do you know trustworthy websites? They have then sort of made some interventions, highlighted a career theme in tutor time. They've shared it with families as part of online information evenings. So they're trying to then put interventions in place based on the information that they were getting back from those questionnaires within their school setting. Okay, what I'll do now is I will just direct us to the resource center. Just before I do that, I'm just going to mention this bottom one here where we've got enterprise coordinator. So if you are having any trouble, any issues with accessing FSQ or having any troubles or issues using Compass Plus, please always reach out to your EC or your hub support. They've got a wealth of knowledge and a wide range of networks that they can put you in touch with that can help steer you in the right direction and help you overcome any problems that you may be experiencing, and certainly put you in touch with those people who are using Compass Plus and FSQ in a really successful way. Okay, so if I just go back to my demo account, where you can get access to help and support within Compass Plus is within our Help Center section here. So if we just click on Help Center, we have got this particular page here. So we always advise that if you are having any problems, this is your first port of call, that you go here to try and become more self-sufficient in using Compass Plus and navigating your way around to find the answers to any problems that you've got. So what we've got here is on the first column, we have lots of different little hyperlinks for YouTube videos, which have been put together, and they're only 2 to 3 minutes, so not too time consuming. So they've been put together on different areas to sort of help explain how they work. There's lots of narratives within these hyperlinks as well, which can certainly with the FSQ can take you to a whole load of different resources to help you overcome any problems. In the middle section, this is where you have got some self-paced online learning where you can go in there, and there are a couple of modules or a few modules that you can go through that helps you become more competent and confident in using Compass Plus and navigating your way around it so that your usability increases and hopefully the problems decrease. We've also got a section here where you can view previous webinars. So we run webinars and deep dives into all of these different areas on the navigation panel and into Compass Plus. And we also have webinars each month on different areas as well. So you could access previous ones here and sign up for future ones in this particular section. We have lots of online resources. So we have lesson plans, trainer material, PowerPoints, you name it, within this resource section. So if there are any areas that you are looking to create activities for, that you can potentially go in here, rather than reinventing the wheel and searching on Google, you can access them from in there. And failing that, if you still can't resolve the issue that you've got through all of these different resources, you can then still contact our support team. So you could click on the contact support. It will take you to this support page where you would type in the description of the query or the problem that you're experiencing. Click submit, and that will go through to our support team, and they will then be able to help you with the problem that you have got. So Help Center is a really, really valuable tool within Compass Plus, and something that we always advise to go to first if you are experiencing any problems. Okay, so that is pretty much everything, everybody. At this point, I will just turn on my camera and I will come to Tamid in just a moment. Prior to coming to Tamid to see if there are any questions that are outstanding, could I ask everyone to access the QR code that's on the screen there? That just gives us the feedback from today's session on areas that we are doing well, areas that we could maybe improve on to increase that sort of knowledge base that we are trying to share with you. So if there's anything that we can do better moving forward, then we're always really keen to get that feedback. But equally, it's always nice to know where things are working, and we can continue doing that. So if whilst you're accessing the QR code, Tamid, how are we doing at the moment with the questions? Is there anything outstanding?
No, Peter, no. I've gone through all the questions. I'm going to be contacting Deborah after this
Fabulous.
session with a answer to one of her queries. But yeah, other than that, everything's gone smoothly. Thank you.
Brilliant. That's great. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much for your support today, Tamid. It's been much appreciated. So everyone, that just sort of brings our session to an end. Our call to action now will be for you to sort of go away and have that confidence to be able to know where to access the Future Skills questionnaire links, and to start trying to generate those links and sending those out to your learners. Start small and grow big. That way you will grow your confidence in knowing that the process works in the way in which you want it to and expect it to. And then you can have that confidence to then start to send it to cohorts, to year groups, and then start analyzing that data. But FSQ is such a powerful tool to allow you to be able to respond to your individual learners. And the sooner that you get using that now off the back of this webinar, the more confident and competent you will become. And hopefully your careers program will also benefit from that. So just leaves me to say thank you very much for your time today. I hope the session has been really useful for you, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thanks now. Bye-bye.